What is going on, everybody? It's the Front, and we're here for a Monday Night Raw review, the post-Day 1 edition. We have a new WWE Champion in Brock Lesnar, who is making his return to Monday Night Raw. But by the time we got to the end of the night, we had two things. One, the number one contender to the WWE Champion going into the Royal Rumble. And two, Brock Lesnar is not done with Roman Reigns. So, basically, other than this match at the end of the show, which was the Day 1 Fatal 4-Way that we were supposed to get at Day 1 that turned into a Fatal 5-Way, was moved to Monday. All four men from that match, the winner would go to Royal Rumble to take on Brock Lesnar and be Brock's first challenger. So, out of everybody who was in the match, Seth Rollins, Big E, Bobby Lashley, and Kevin Owens, there's only one answer. It's Bobby Lashley. There was no reason to see a Big E Brock Lesnar match at the Royal Rumble. Only match that would be acceptable, the only match that feels like a legitimate main event, is Bobby Lashley versus Brock Lesnar. A match Bobby Lashley has been asking for since his first day back in WWE. He's been wanting a match with the Beast. And here it comes at the Royal Rumble. This honestly does feel like the first time in a long time that we have a big marquee match for a big pay-per-view. If it wasn't for Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar at the Royal Rumble, that's, not at the Royal Rumble, but at WrestleMania, that's where this match would belong. Since clearly, with the fact that the last thing Brock Lesnar said in an obvious pre-taped interview, that he will see Roman Reigns this coming Friday on SmackDown, that he and Roman Reigns will go one-on-one at WrestleMania. Pitched it on Saturday, I'll pitch it again. Champion versus champion, winner take all on night 1. Night 2, the winner of the Men's Royal Rumble will face Roman Reigns or Brock Lesnar for the unified WWE Universal Championship. And whoever that is, whether it's Drew McIntyre or Bobby Lashley or I don't care. Maybe it's even Walter. Could you imagine if Walter makes his main roster permanent debut in the Royal Rumble, wins the Royal Rumble, and punches his ticket to night 2 of WrestleMania to take on Brock Lesnar or Roman Reigns? Only then, I would sit there and say, I don't care who wins that first match, because Walter versus Brock, Walter versus Roman, either one of those would be marquee matches. Other than that, I don't know, and I don't care who wins the Rumble, because you're getting Bobby Lashley versus Brock Lesnar at the Royal Rumble, and that match itself is all you need. So, we start the show, we get a video package as we do after every post-pay-per-view on Monday Night Raw. Highlights of what happened, the big moment, of course, being Brock Lesnar going for the WWE title, winning the WWE title, and sending Big E packing back to soon-to-be irrelevancy and no longer in the title hunt. And as commentary brings us, welcomes us to Monday Night Raw, the lights go out. The lights come back on, and there's Paul Heyman sitting in the ring. Does his usual Brock Lesnar introduction, brings out the champ, and I was wondering, are we going to see clean-shaven, cut, short hair Brock Lesnar? No, it's still Farmer Brock, so that's a good thing. Brock Lesnar gets in the ring, hands him in the title for a minute, then walks outside, throws the top half of a set of steps off, and grabs the second half, pauses it in the ring, sets it up, gets his title back, and steps up to a podium, pretty much his podium, to stand above everybody, asks for the mic, and actually talks. And pretty much welcomes us all to him being WWE champion. He comes to he stands on the steps, thanks everyone. He says the first he wants to give a big shout out to his good buddy, Universal Champion Roman Reigns. Lesnar says Reigns is probably tuned in at home watching the real champion. Lashley and Heyman is all smiles. Lesnar sends get well wishes to Roman Reigns and tells South Carolina to acknowledge him in the smarmiest way ever. Lesnar wants to acknowledge his advocate for advocating his free agency, all the strings he pulled last Saturday to help make him the WWE champion. He thanks him, and then Heyman takes the mic and says, if you think it's hard out here, you should see things that go behind the scenes. Because the negotiations for Lesnar, he goes on to confirm Lesnar will defend his WWE title at the Royal Rumble against the winner of tonight's Fatal 4-Way. Takes shots at each opponent. He does say that Bobby Lashley is a worthy opponent. Big E was an honorable champion, a great champion, and it would be an honor to face him too. Doesn't have too many kind words to say for Seth Rollins and Kevin Owens, but of course Brock Lesnar has said and done shit with Seth Rollins that we don't need to see that anymore. He does mention how Roman Reigns, look how weak he is without his advocate. 1 week without me and he's already got COVID. That was hell of a rip. It goes on about Lashley MVP, noting how Lashley and Lesnar never met or spoke backstage, and it seemed like they avoided each other, but not really, because neither one of these guys will ever avoid anything. The first time they met each other in that ring was last Saturday when Brock Lesnar was put through that barricade. And Brock Lesnar was hit with a spear in the middle of the ring. Brock Lesnar was put in the Hurt Lock. And it looked like Lesnar was not getting out of it, but every single time that Lesnar was attacked and hit by Bobby Lashley, Lashley attacked him from behind. So if he's going to fight him at the Royal Rumble, it's going to be face to face, and everyone, including Brock Lesnar and Bobby Lashley, know it'll be a different story at the Royal Rumble. Heyman says Big E deserved an applause and was a great champion who did a WWE justice and all of that and more. He says Big E would still be a champion if he didn't have to get in the ring with Brock Lesnar. That's not just talking his storyline. That's a shoot. The talk coming out of this show going into day one is that Big E was going to retain the WWE Championship until Brock Lesnar was added to the match. And it's like, come on. Put Brock Lesnar in the match. Did you really think anybody else was going to win that match? Did you think that anybody else was going to take the title and do anything but Brock Lesnar? I said it on mine on Saturday. I don't see any reason why Brock Lesnar doesn't walk into that match and doesn't walk out that match WWE Champion. Just wouldn't have made any sense. But if he does face him at Royal Rumble, he will lose. But it would be an honor if he wins the WWE Championship. If he went and cuts a match with him at Royal Rumble. Now he will be the WWE Champion coming out and going into WrestleMania. So that is that. They leave, and Lesnar does something I don't think I've ever seen him do. Came close to Paul and actually put his arm around him, and I'm like, he's just fucking with Paul Heyman now, isn't he? He's just got him around for now. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens with Paul Heyman and Brock Lesnar. Obviously, whatever they were going to do on Saturday got thrown out the window because of COVID. I don't think we would have seen Brock Lesnar on TV with Paul Heyman. Obviously, it feels like it's going to come back around where this is all just a big plan between Paul Heyman and Roman Reigns. Paul Heyman, when this is all said and done, will gloat at how stupid Brock Lesnar was, how much easily Brock Lesnar fell for everything they were going to do. But right now, it just looks like Brock Lesnar is screwing with Heyman, and that Brock Lesnar is going to have the one-up on Paul Heyman and Roman Reigns. And before we even get to WrestleMania, Paul Heyman is going to eat an F5 from Brock Lesnar. But now, that is all we had for this. Very good segment. I wonder where we're going. I'm wondering what's going to happen next. It is definitely interesting to see what happens on Friday. Brock Lesnar said he will be at SmackDown, and because, yes, he is technically a free agent, even though he's the WWE Champion, He can go wherever he wants. Honestly, when they unify the titles, this if you want to keep the brand split going, it's real simple. Whoever is the WWE champion, they are a free agent. They can go to Raw, they can go to SmackDown, and they can challenge whoever, or whoever can challenge them. And it makes it a little bit more interesting. Because you could have a tournament every once in a while where you have an 8-man tournament, 4 on Raw, 4 on SmackDown, fighting to see who will face WWE champion at a pay-per-view, or something. I'll have to wait and see, though. Or Matt Riddle and Randy Orton stuff, I really couldn't care. Okay, Bros versus the Alpha Academy. Out come the champs. This is a non-title match. We do see what happened with them and the Street Profits on Saturday. And of course, the RK Bros won, which wasn't too much of a shock. If anybody's gonna beat the RK Bros, it's either going to be one of two teams: Alpha Academy or the newly created Seth Rollins and Kevin Owens team. That's all I can think of who could beat RK Bro. It's either Seth Rollins and Kevin Owens after the pursuit of the WWE Championship is pretty much done and over with. Want to keep those two together, it gives you another tag team. They could be the ones to break up RK Bro and plant the seeds inside Randy Orton and Riddle to break them up. We have our match here, of course. Outcomes. Chad Gable, the Alpha Academy, Chad Gable, of course, talking about being a valedictorian, graduating from Full Sail University, and talking all his spiel as he usually does. Saying Otis is the 4 most dangerous letters in WWE or OTIS, not RKO. And they attack the tag champs before the match. Of course they do. Match goes maybe 2 minutes, maybe 2.5 minutes. Riddle goes for the RKO, gets hit with the power slam, 1, 2, 3, and Alpha Academy picks up the win. Because fuck being a champion, you lose all the time. Brock Lesnar won't lose a non-title match because Brock Lesnar doesn't wrestle non-title matches usually. Roman Reigns isn't going to lose, and it seems like Becky's not going to lose. Why does every other champion out there? Charlotte doesn't. Well, she does lose. Never mind. That one out the window. But why does all the other champions lose non-title matches? It just doesn't make any sense. Chris Driver is backstage with MVP and Bobby Lashley. Driver asks about Brock Lesnar, and MVP interrupts goes on how Lashley has a Herculean task ahead of him to complete to get to the title shot. Lashley just stands there looking pissed as fuck and says only that Brock Lesnar hears him. Clearly you know who was going to win the match tonight just with how everything felt like it was going. See Omos backstage with one on Kevin Patrick. Back from commercial. We come for break. We see a recent happens between Omos and AJ. Omos is backstage with Kevin. He asks about AJ. Said he regrets taking Omos under his ring and calling him a piece of. Omos takes his big huge hand, puts it over Kevin Patrick's face, and says, "That's how I feel." He walks off. 24/7 mixed tag team garbage. Akira Tozawa, Tamina versus Reggie and Dana Brooke. I could not care less. Moving on. Comes Becky, who is here to celebrate the start of her 2022 by beating Liv Morgan at 1. Says here we are in 2022, and there's something about the new year that inspires hope in people. It doesn't matter if you failed last year, the past 5 years, or your whole life. Things can change to the better when the clock strikes midnight. Knows all the women in the back have a title win at the top of their list, and she admires their dedication. But at the top of the list, her list, is remaining champion. She goes on about how no one can beat her. Many have tried, but they all fail. She goes on about the decision she made in last year. She realized she became a work of art. She compares herself to Van Gogh. She says Van Goat. Me. And says she will make us feel better because that's what good art does. She insults people for having New Year's resolutions, takes a shot at South Carolina and says the women in the back won't be winning the title. Then she takes a shot at Liv Morgan and says Liv broke her promise to herself and to you. And out comes Liv Morgan, who has new music because WWE just wants to change everybody's music. I don't know why. It says new year, but same ugly jacket and same delusional Becky. Just how close Becky knows how close she was to winning that title on Saturday. Yeah, Liv, but you kind of lost clean. So it doesn't matter. It's close only matters in horseshoes and hand grenades. It doesn't matter how close you were to um how close you were to winning the championship. You didn't get the job done, so who gives a shit? Enters the ring and talks about how she was giving it all and leaves it all in the ring every time she gets the chance. And that's exactly what she did at day one. Yeah, but you didn't win the championship. Nobody cares. We'll get to a little bit of this illogical booking WWE likes to have in a bit. He says that Lovely and maybe one day, Becky says that's lovely, maybe one day Liv will win the title, but not until Becky retires. Out comes Bianca Belair. I figured she would come out tonight because she's beaten Piper Niven not once, not twice, but 3 times, pinning her twice. She said she talks some trash her way to the ring. She took a little detour, stepping aside to allow others a shot at the title. You let one other person get a shot, and that was Liv Morgan, no one else. But now she's back in line for big-time Bex. Lynch says Morgan and Bella have fallen victim to her routine, beat, sleep, repeat. Lynch talks about some more trash, and Liv mentions how she knows nothing about the locker room because she hasn't been in there in years. Tells Belair to leave because Becky and her are in the middle of something. Belair says, yeah, but we have history, me and the champ. It goes way further back than before you got here. Yeah. 26 seconds at SummerSlam that you have yet to recover from. He tells them to get out of her ring, but figure out who's going to be next in line and let her know. Belair and Morgan end up attacking Becky and tossing her from the ring. Becky's title is still in the ring. Belair and Morgan have words. They start beating each other up. Belair rams Liv back into the corner and shoulder thrust. Liv fights her off and drops her with a step-up kick. Braun continues. Belair goes for the KOD, but Becky decks both from behind. Becky drops Belair with the manhandle slam while Liv looks on from ringside, down on the floor. She picks up the title, raises it in the air, and makes her exit as the music hits. So the 2 women who want to be the next in line, or the next woman to face Lynch, both get made to look like fools. Becky. It gets worse, fellas. Ladies and gentlemen, it gets worse. Before that, Kevin Owens is backstage with Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins is glad Owens showed up so he can help him decide what to do with Paul Heyman's problem. Staple his mouth shut or cut his tongue out. Thinking about castration, but that was probably a little bit too far. Owen likes the idea, but we figure it out later. But first, they need to figure out what to do in tonight's main event. Hope and pray you win. One proposes one of them wins tonight. The other helps the winner to beat Brock Lesnar for the WWE title at Royal Rumble. And then they go to headline WrestleMania 38. Rollins loves the idea. It's a great plan. They agree that they can trust each other and they got a plan. Walks off laughing. Owens yells and says, hey, you ain't lying, are you? We'll see. If the 24/7 title didn't exist, this would be the most useless, pointless, pathetic championship in WWE. The WWE Women's Tag Team titles, Nikki Trash and Rhea Ripley versus Carmella and Queen Zelina Vega. This match went literally 2 minutes. 2 minutes. Rhea Ripley never got in the match. Got knocked off the apron. Nikki got scooped up into a fireman's carry. Vega slides, rolls her up for 1, 2, 3. Queen and Carmella retain the championships. And you see Nikki in the ring trying to plead her case with Rhea Ripley. Trying to talk her down, like, I'm sorry, lost, I'm sorry, I'm a terrible competitor, I'm sorry, my gimmick is trash. I'm sorry you're stuck with me, I'm sorry you're not the women's champion, I'm sorry you're not a bigger star than you were because, and whatever. This is going to lead to, Nikki getting destroyed by, Rhea Ripley. And Nikki being part of the future Endeavor later this year. So, again, don't really care. Johnny Knoxville's in the Royal Rumble. I forgot to mention this on Saturday. Yeah, Johnny Knoxville. You know, WWE had zombies last year. They had Golden Egg. They had Johnny Knoxville in the Royal Rumble. Taking up a spot in the biggest stipulation match WWE does every single year. And this is how you're gonna fucking do it? You're gonna have Johnny Knoxville in this match? You gotta be kidding me. Speaking of the Royal Rumble, coming up we have the Street Profits versus Apollo Crews and the Commander Aziz, and before the match even started, we had a video package about the Street Profits, who will be entering themselves into the Royal Rumble match. So we have Johnny Knoxville and the Street Profits. On a commercial break after they come into the ring, we go back and Rey Mysterio and Dominic say they're going to be in the Royal Rumble. So Johnny Knoxville, the Street Profits, Rey, and Dominic Mysterio. So that is 5 guys right now. Well, 4. And a jackass who does not deserve to be in there. So how much WWE is getting paid to have Johnny Knoxville in the Royal Rumble? So, Apollo Crews and Commander Aziz versus Street Profits, and I wonder, why didn't Apollo Crews say him and Aziz are in the Royal Rumble? That would have gave us a lot. That would have gave us 7 people in the Royal Rumble, but no, they didn't. Anyway, was again another short match. Nothing really worth anything here. Dawkins sends Aziz to the floor, but Aziz pulls him up and by his leg. Aziz goes to run Dawkins into the ring post, but Dawkins counters and sends Aziz into the post. Ford tags in, drops Crews, hits the big frog splash, 1, 2, 3. And the Street Profits win. And I'm thinking, y'all remember when Apollo Crews beat Big E and Commander Aziz made his debut last year at WrestleMania? For the WWE Intercontinental Championship, he got his fake Nigerian accent out there, started acting like a prince of Nigeria. But it felt like they were actually doing something with Apollo Crews. That guy that ship sailed so long ago. Not even funny. Apollo Crews might as well drop the accent, give it to Commander Aziz, and go back to being the Monday Night Highlight he tried to be. What was it, 3 years ago? Remember on Monday Night Raw like 2 or 3 years ago when they had a video packet, a selfie video, and Apollo Crews said, "I'm going to be Monday Night Raw's highlight video, like highlight superstar or something." Ah, that was so stupid. So recent happenings we see what happened with the Dirty Dogs and Damian Priest lately. Sheamus is backstage with Priest. Priest says Ziggler wants to the Damien side of him. If he can keep the Priest sign going tonight, he will retain. It's up to Ziggler if Priest wins with mercy or with a beating to Ziggler. Either way, either side wins. Priest says he will remain champion tonight. Now, this match was, if Damian Priest was to get disqualified or counted out, he will lose the United States Championship. Damian Priest will take on Dolph Ziggler. Of course, like I said, if Damian Priest loses by DQ or countout, he loses the United States Championship. Which, I mean, come on, did you really think Damian Priest was losing this match? I mean, they did tease the chair shot or the countout. Basically, Robert Roode doing his usual shtick. Before that, I forgot. So Piper Niven. We have them go to commercial break after he makes his entrance. Piper Niven in the back, and my feed on my Spectrum app, thanks Spectrum, cut out as this segment was going on. I got the gist of it, but I missed the very end of this one for a minute. But she comes in and she's like, "I'm tired of the same people getting women's championship match after women's championship match after women's championship match. When is it gonna be my turn?" I'm sitting here thinking, wait a minute. Maybe you should win some matches. Honestly, if you think about it, if anybody in the last month in the WWE Raw Women's title match, it is Bianca Belair. She has beaten you twice. What have you done to earn a title match? You're demanding a title match. Here's a good idea. Beat Bianca Belair those 3 times you faced her. That would have been a reason to say, well, you know what, Piper, you should get a title match. But, so, let me get this straight. Because she came in, she wanted a title match, she's demanding a title match, she demanded it from both Sonya Deville and Adam Pearce. Good to see Adam Pearce back. He was suffering, did have some COVID problems over the last few weeks, but he is back now, good for him. And Sonya says, you know what, well, next week we'll have a triple threat match. Liv Morgan, Bianca Belair, Piper Niven. I'm thinking to myself, okay, so Liv Morgan lost twice to WWE Raw Women's Champion. Bianca Belair honestly should feel pissed off because she has done more than enough to earn a title match. She's beaten Piper Niven 3 times. Piper Niven hasn't done a goddamn thing. Why are we getting a triple threat match next week? Now, had Liv Morgan being screwed at the Day 1 pay-per-view where it feels like that's what they were supposed to do, it felt like you saw at the end of that match that Becky Lynch was trying to get her leg on the rope to have a leverage. Her leg wasn't long enough, and they weren't close enough to the rope, so I think that was where they fucked up. But, yeah, she got beat clean. So she has no gripe. She got beat fair and square. Niven lost by counter because she ran like a coward, lost by pinfall, and then lost by pinfall. So she lost to Bianca Belair 3 times. And then, of course, on top of that, both Liv Morgan and Bianca Belair were made to look like fools tonight by the Raw Women's Champion. And this is your triple threat match for next week. Why would anybody want to see any of these women win? They're all going to go and get beat by Becky Lynch at the Royal Rumble. It doesn't fucking matter. Becky's not losing the Raw Women's title until WrestleMania. If you wanted to take the title off of Becky Lynch, it would have been at Day 1 or it would have been the first Liv Morgan match. It ain't happening now. You can forget about it. We go to this match, Dolph Ziggler and Damian Priest. And I'm going to say it was a fine match. I don't know what you thought was going to happen. Of course, Dolph Ziggler was going to try and cheat to win. Of course, Dolph Ziggler was going to sit here and try and get Damian Priest to get disqualified. Bobby Roode was going to try and trick Damian Priest into getting counted out so his boy could be the United States champion. Of course, you know, they're doing this whole Jekyll and Hyde thing. I don't know exactly what they're fucking doing with Damian Priest. Why he's got to be Mr. Jekyll and Hyde now. I honestly don't have a fucking clue what they're doing. But here we are, Dolph Ziggler. I'm sorry, not Dolph Ziggler. Damian Priest going out there and having his match and going out there. They had the match. Of course, as I said, Bobby Roode gets involved, pisses off Damian Priest. Damian Priest goes out. He starts beating up Bobby Roode. Goes to get a chair. Holds it up to go and just strike this guy down with a vengeance. And he hears 7. 8. He's looking around. Gets back in the ring at 9 with the chair. Dolph Ziggler's on his knees like, please, hit me. Hit me. Please hit me and I'll be champion. Hit me. Bobby Roode gets up on the apron. He's telling him, hit the man. Hit him. Hit him. Just hit him. Damian Priest does a smart thing. Turns around, wails Bobby Roode, knocking him off the apron. Dolph Ziggler hits the zigzag. Goes for the pin. 1, 2, kick out. Priest just in time. Can't believe it. Priest slowly gets back up and is close to snapping again. Ziggler super kicks him, but Priest takes it and nails the reckoning for the 1, 2, 3. And Damian Priest is still the United States champion. Where does it go from here? I don't fucking know. And then we had Chairman Vince McMahon backstage on the phone. In comes Austin Theory. They have some talk, and Austin Theory has been added to the Royal Rumble. So that makes Johnny Knoxville, Montez Ford, Angelo Dawkins, Rey and Dominic Mysterio, and Austin Theory. That is your 6 guys. Those 6 guys. Nothing from the women. No Zelina Vega, no Carmella, no Rhea Ripley, no Nikki Trash, no anybody else. I mean, the women on this card are Bianca, Becky, Liv, Rhea Ripley, Nikki, Zelina Vega, Carmella, Dana Brooke, Tamina. Active. Now, they did advertise later in the night that Alexa Bliss will be making her return very, very soon. It's not going to be next week, but they did bring up the entire tragedy that befell Alexa Bliss when Lily was ripped to shreds by then Raw Women's Champion Charlotte 9000. So Alexa Bliss can go off to have some kind of medical surgery, and she hasn't been seen since. But next week, we are getting the journey of Alexa Bliss back to WWE Raw. So we will see Alexa Bliss slowly make her way back to Monday Night Raw starting next week. Will this be her making her... She's got to be back for the Rumble. I mean, they need women. I just named off 9 people. There's a women's rumble that needs 30 women. Obviously, we're gonna probably get like 10 legends, 5 women from NXT, 5 women from SmackDown, and the rest from Raw. It's just, yeah, that's probably what we're gonna get. Probably get 10 women. We'll get 10 from Raw. We'll probably get 10 from Raw, 10 from SmackDown, 5 from Legends, and 5 from NXT. Even though nobody in NXT right now outside of Raquel Gonzalez, Dakota Kai, and I say Zoe Starks if she's back by then, but I doubt it. But Io Shirai are ready for Rumble. Saying. I mean, Mandy Rose too if you want to, but there's no reason to have her or JC Jane and Gigi Dolan. No. After break, and then comes the Miz and Maryse to whine and complain about the fact that Miz and Maryse were outsmarted by Beth Phoenix and her grisly fist-off face on at day 1. Yeah, they whine and complain, and then of course Miz, okay, I love the way they did this for the crowd. Miz is like, he used his wife to fight his battles. Who would do such a thing? And the crowd was like, you do! What kind of man uses his wife to defend him? You do! And like he just kept doing everything like what kind of man? And the crowd would always be like, you do! Now, I don't know if that was the actual crowd or if that was just piping him in, but I thought it was kind of funny. And Maryse is sitting there like, no, not you, The Miz. No. You would never. And it was just so fucking stupid. But it was still kind of funny. I mean, I don't care for the Miz segments, but that was kind of funny. And it's funny he keeps calling himself a 2-time Grand Slam champion. The only Grand Slam champion, which is a lie. Grand Slam champion. Let me think here. Let me look at the poll. Yeah, The Miz can go out there and say he is a 2-time Grand Slam champion, but that is not true. The only 2 people who can actually have that distinction are Chris Jericho and Jeff Hardy. And when I say 2-time Grand Slam champion, I mean under the old format and the newer format. The old format, of course, being the WWE Championship, the World Heavyweight Champion, the WWE World Tag Team titles, the WWE Tag Team titles, Intercontinental title, European title, and Hardcore Championship, which Jeff Hardy won every single one of those. Or the WWE Universal Raw, SmackDown, Intercontinental, and United States Championship, which Jeff Hardy won every single one of those, but the Universal title, and unfortunately he'll never get the Universal title. So the fact that he goes out there and says he is a 2-time Grand Slam champion, that's a load of shit. Nobody's going to sit there and say you are a 2-time Grand Slam champion, but you. I don't know why you say you're a 2-time Grand Slam champion, but you're not. Just because you won the WWE Championship twice doesn't make you a 2-time Grand Slam champion. That's not how that works. Hardy did it in the first format and the second. Jericho did it in the first format and the second. That is the way you count a 2-time Grand Slam champion. Yeah. Why I say that Jeff Hardy is the most decorated man in all of WWE history because he won every single championship but the Cruiserweight title and the Universal title in his 3 stints in WWE. Anyway, so they whine, they bitch and moan some more, and then Maryse says if Beth Phoenix was here tonight, I would punch her in the face. Lo and behold, here comes Beth Phoenix and Edge. So basically, you know where this is going, and it's obvious from day one where this is going, and honestly, I don't give a shit. It's going to be Miz and Maryse versus Beth Phoenix and Edge at the Royal Rumble. That, for me, is all I'm saying is good. Good. I don't want to see this guy. I don't want to see. I don't want to see Edge versus The Miz at WrestleMania. I don't even want to see The Miz on TV anymore. Miz's time as being anything has well passed him by. I could care less about The Miz. So that is what you have to say about that. Yes, and of course Maryse is not happy because Maryse isn't a wrestler. She never was a wrestler. Who gives a shit if she's a wrestler? Now we have AJ Styles and Omos. Now, of course, as we know, AJ Styles and Omos started teaming in 2019, I think, 2018, or 2020. I think it was 2020, not 2018, like 2020. End of 2020, going into 2021, they started teaming up. Then they went to WrestleMania. They won the tag team titles. Held the tag team titles until SummerSlam, where they lost them to the RK Bro. And then they were teaming together for a while, and they weren't really doing anything. And then Omos finally turned on AJ Styles. And then last week, it was supposed to be, I could have sworn last week was supposed to be AJ Styles and Omos last week. That didn't happen, and probably because of COVID or whatever else. But yeah, here we are now with WWE having this match, and honestly, I could care less about this match. I really, really could care less about this match. Because Omos, I mean, AJ Styles did what he could do. He beat the hell out of this guy. AJ Styles sold for the hell out for this guy. Made him look as good as he can do. And of course, Omos picked him up, threw him down, and pinned him 1, 2, 3. And yes, AJ did everything he could for this guy. What will happen to Omos out AJ Styles? That is the biggest question you have to ask. What is Omos going to do when he has to fight a guy who's not on the same level as an AJ Styles? AJ Styles is on a different level than majority of the guys in the back. AJ Styles is a one-of-a-kind decade. He is a once-in-a-decade talent out there. He is a Ric Flair. He is a Shawn Michaels. He is a guy who can go out there and make anybody look good. He is a Bret Hart. He can go out there and make he can make anybody from a 7-foot tall guy to a 5'1" guy look as good as they can in the ring. What is Omos going to do when he's going out there and just killing jobbers? Having some victim to go after. He ain't going to be no better than the Great Khali. And that's what's sad. Then we go to our main event. Kevin Owens, Big E, Seth Rollins, and Bobby Lashley. Fatal 4-way #1 contender. Winner goes to the Royal Rumble. So, this match was very, very long. These four guys went out there, and of course the big story was Seth Rollins and Kevin Owens teaming up and doing everything they can to win, for one of them to win the match. And it was very interesting because had these guys go out there and they're beating the hell out of each other. And it's like there's like 13 minutes left when I'm like, they can't, there's no way this match is going 13 more minutes. And then Seth Rollins and Kevin Owens run to the back, or they go through the crowd and run. I'm like, yeah, they're going 13 more minutes because they're going to fight in the concourse. They're going to go fight everywhere they can. And yeah, it's just, man. It's just crazy. It is absolutely crazy. So, yeah, this match was all over the place. Obviously, I said it from the beginning, Bobby Lashley won this match. There is nothing else you can really say about it. Kevin Owens, and it was things like Kevin Owens would hit a big move and try and get a pin, and Seth Rollins is celebrating for him. Seth Rollins does the same thing. Kevin Owens is celebrating for him. Those two tried their hardest to win that match for one of them. But unfortunately, it was Bobby Lashley who would spear Kevin Owens and end night as the victor. With Bobby Lashley going to the Royal Rumble to take on Brock Lesnar. A match so many people have been begging for, have been pleading for, want him to do at WrestleMania, at the Royal Rumble. It's going to happen. So, yeah, that's that. The Monday Night Raw, the only thing really worth talking about, the two things really worth talking about Well, 3 if you want to count Alexa Bliss. Alexa Bliss is coming back probably right before the Royal Rumble, or making her return, which it should be at the Royal Rumble, just to give that pop, because you know people are going to pop for her. The fact that Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins are going to be going, hopefully, for the tag team titles. That would be interesting. I know Kevin Owens wants to win the tag team titles with Sami Zayn before his time in WWE are done. Can't do that right now. They're on different brands. And the fact that Liv Morgan can lose, and Piper Niven can lose, and they get an opportunity for the women's championship. Okay then. But that is all for your Monday Night Raw review. Hit that subscribe button, comment down below, like or dislike this video. Find me on Minds at the France Club. Find me on twitch.tv/the France Club, and find me on Instagram at the France Club. And I will see you guys on Wednesday for AEW on TBS, as AEW makes its long-awaited TBS debut. So then, my name is the France, and I'll see you guys later.